from start in my heart. Oh yeah, days swinging and I sing to you a symphony. Won't you kiss me? Shut me out, please. She's a goddess, a wish from start in my heart. Oh yeah, days swinging and I sing to you a symphony. Won't you kiss me? Shut me out, please. She's a goddess, a wish from start in my heart. Oh yeah.
Hello and welcome. This is the latest cast in the second annual Winter Cup. Technically, we're calling it Winter Cup 2020, even though it's going to take place entirely within 2019. Kind of the opposite of SpyParty, where things generally happen a little late. This one's happening a little early to make room for the SpyParty Competitive League, which is coming up shortly. But in the meantime, it's going to be group stage matches. Instead, we actually have a live match today. It's coming right up. The drafting is happening right now, as a matter of fact. It's going to be Pone Noob versus Magic Doer 1. Pone Noob, I think you'd probably agree, Screw, one of the favorites of this tournament.
Absolutely. Very high level player. He's, I believe, in Platinum in SCL in the upcoming season. Is that right?
He was platinum and he's about to be diamond, which
Diamond,
means
yep.
I'm gonna be studying him unusually closely today. Even though he's probably going to be misdirecting me left and right. And this is actually his first group stage match as well. A little behind the curve there. So it should be very interesting. Magic Doer was one of my potential upset picks, struggling a little bit out of the gate, but there's still a chance to make it out because the groups here in Winter Cup are a little bigger than they have been in their sister tournament, the Summer Cup. Different organizer, but similar format in a few ways. But the groups here are 5 rather than 4, so you have a little more time if you need to start slow. And if Magic Doer can actually pull off a win here, which it's fair to say would be a big upset, can absolutely still get out of these group stages potentially.
Definitely.
Yeah, so they are picking and banning right now. Now, the picks and bans work a little differently. For one thing, for those of you who've seen the Summer Cup, there are no picks and bans. There's just a set map pool, and that's it. And you play all the way through for tiebreaker purposes, even if you've lost the match already. And it's not like SCL either, where you pick and ban specific venues. In this case, there are different groups of venues with different themes, for example, larger venues, occlusion-based venues, things like that. Each player picks one of those groups and has the option to ban a venue from either group afterwards. And I think those picks are coming in just a bit. It looks like Noob has elected to pick second. Magic Doer with their first pick picks the big boys, it's called.
Which is going to include library, terrace, veranda, and gallery.
Right, yeah. Noob has banned ballroom, it looks like, yes?
Noob bans ballroom. Yeah, Noob banning ballroom, I believe, from the other map pick pool, from his own pick, it looks like.
Yes, we have not seen that as often. Usually people ban from the other person's venue pool, but sometimes you like all but one, and we do see it occasionally. It's not super rare, so there we go. It sounds like they're about ready. I think I'm going to tell them to go ahead, and we're going to get right into this match real quick, but you can see those are the venues we're going to be dealing with today, and as mentioned, Noob banning ballroom from his own set. They are getting into the match right now, and it's going to be high rise first. Yeah, this is very exciting. Noob, this is, like I said, his first group stage match. I think he's going to be playing them kind of in a rush, various scheduling issues. Magic Doer, though, fair to say, really needs to score some points here. I think at least a tie would really keep their hopes alive. Magic Doer is going to spy first as general on high rise. Notice this is 3 of 5, and the relatively standard missions turned off. Microfilm, swap, of course, and purloin. Nothing too fancy here. Sipping at the window. Already has a flirt in, though, and it's 51%. And this opens things up. If you can finish the flirt quickly, you can force the sniper into some difficult decisions. Take a path a bit by the ambassador, at least from the sniper's perspective, but we're not going to do anything there. No reason to rush a bug. You really only want to take a bug attempt if it's particularly good. There's another green test, but we could not get right next to our seduction target, so it's 97%, but we still have 3 minutes left on the clock, and any flirt will finish that mission. But the potential of a Softail rush is probably out the window now.
Yeah, pretty standard opening. Working on flirt for the first little bit, just to lay low and kind of let the party disperse and figure out what your plan is going to be.
Yeah, you really don't have to rush, but if you can, sometimes it works. Noob is going to highlight a civilian there. Looks like maybe doesn't like the briefcase from Blondo, or is just tracking Prince. Could be either one. The party is small enough and manageable enough on high-rise 3-5 variants like this that you can use your lights for a variety of things and sort of just remember a lot of what's going on. It's a lot more viable that way. Duke potentially obliges, though, by going to a statue. It is not the center statue, but you'll probably take it.
General taking an innocent drink just to look a little bit more like an AI rather than the spy. Reason being, a spy typically doesn't want to clog up their hands if they don't have a reason. General can now, or Magic Doer as General can now not do a handful of things because his hands are occupied.
Not do a handful of things is the right way to put it. Flirt is done in the meantime, by the way. Sorry, who blocked our green flirt earlier, finally leaves, but the seduce is done with one of the twins. There are only 2 highlights in this party, but the spy is neither of them, with 1 mission done at about 2 minutes left. Duke is just all over the place, walking by the ambassador, messing with the briefcase again, going to another statue. You have to imagine, if Magic Doer is playing properly here, they're going to notice that Duke is trending towards mission completion in the sniper's mind, potentially. You're going to have to make sure they're in there for a real BB if you can. That's going to be a fake. It's going to knock out Duke and Sorry. I wonder if this is supposed to cover for something. Maybe they have a different frame target in mind. It doesn't seem to be blocking a fingerprint or a bug attempt or anything else like that. Very perplexing.
Yeah, and unfortunately we do have an SDA in the conversation, it looked like, which means he could be credited with real bug anyways.
Yeah, real BB potentially anyway, so there's a lot of things wrong with that. Might have just had a specific frame target in mind. It might have been the highlight twin, and that is indeed what happens!
Wow.
Not caring about Duke, trying to frame the twin instead makes me look silly, I gotta admit, because it seems to work beautifully. Noob's first game in the 2020 Winter Cup is a sniper loss, albeit on a 3-5 variant. Wow, that is absolutely huge.
And again, kind of looking at yesterday's match, we were talking about momentum. If Magic Doer is going to make the upset, this is going to be the way to do it. Definitely opening with a strong, a strong win against Ponoob. And a missed shot can be fairly tilting for the sniper.
Yeah, absolutely. Noob plays a very fluid game, and sometimes you can drown. It's going to be Noob this time as Spy, playing as Sorry, a fairly popular character on this venue because her primary weakness, speed, doesn't really matter that much, and more than makes up for it with the bug, but her bug is already legendary. We are just idling in this conversation, aggressively idling, I might say, a term coined by Ponoob in an article on SpyParty fans. Means idling very
Um,
noticeably.
Give me 1 second. Rewind back to about 4:15 or so. I didn't have autoplay
Sure.
on, possibly. I thought I did, but
4:15. It's 4:15 because he did a time ad. In case you're wondering, there's not supposed to be a 4:15 on this venue. I'm ready when you are. Say when.
4:15. 3, 2, 1.
All right. So yeah, a time ad took place. That's why there's more than 4 minutes on the clock. That's not normally supposed to happen. That's that. So Noob, known for coining terms like aggressively idling, and known for time ads as well, and that's what happens here. And if you see a time ad on a venue like High Rise, particularly from a player like this, you have to imagine the idea is to give AIs more chances to complete, not to complete yourself. Although, yeah, so far that fits. We have made zero progress on anything other than adding to that clock. But the ambassador's next to us. Magic Doer is staring this down. There's a drink in that hand, though. Except now we finished it, and now a bug is possible. And none takes place. Interesting decision, by the way, to get rid of the drink unless you wanted to bug. Because if you don't want to bug and you want the sniper to know you're not bugging and you have no intention of completion, you would think there you'd want the drink in your hand so that they don't phantom something. Doesn't matter now, though. The drink is gone and so is the Amba. And we have still done nothing. This drink has been offered to us for quite a little while here. We finally reject it. And we are talking to nobody in particular, at least nobody of consequence.
Yeah, and Ponoob finishing up the drink without taking the bug opportunity may just be him showing a sign of respect to Magic Doer, saying, hey, look, I could bug, and I know that you can see the lean, and I'm not doing it, so I'm probably not the spy.
It's an excellent point. What you do in that scenario depends almost entirely on how confident you are that the sniper will see or not see something, and how confident you are that they will be confident they didn't see something. That's a big deal, and definitely paying Magic Doer probably some respect there, saying he's not going to phantom a bug and shoot me for something I didn't do, especially when he's staring it down like that. And it seems that so far they're right, but the party is just not giving them a lot to do. A lot of people hanging out in conversations. That's not what you want when you time out on high res like this. We still have zero progress. But there's another bug opportunity. At a certain point, Noob might see this party and say, you know what, I do have to finish, and if you want to rush it late, a bug would be the way to do it. Smallman gets high lit next to the Amba. I think, yeah, well, not that you need a reason. And we get low lit. We get low lit. This might have been what we're going for. It might have been to frame an AI, and it might have been for the low light. It might have been for both. The question is, did Noob feel that? Because it didn't come at a particularly obvious time. It wasn't during an AI-like stutter or let's say, a fingerprintless briefcase or other things where you could maybe guess a low light was coming. It just sort of happened cumulatively there.
Yeah, Ponoob has a very interesting playstyle to my understanding. He's very much diving into the mind games and fishing for low lights and then reacting once he gets it. So it wouldn't surprise me if he knows that he's low lit and he turns it up within the last minute and a half here.
Just did it with a green Purloin. Purloin is on set of Fingerprint, by the way, and we see why now. The timing is unbelievable. It happens very shortly after the low light. He might have a good impression of when that low light came off, or he might just decide now's the time to finish. There goes the guest list. It's taken by Green Dress. It's being offered to Smallman, and I'm not sure it's on screen. And he just took during a BB. That's 2 missions done. Has the list even been seen yet? Yep. And all they know is that Smallman was the last person to take a drink. Unfortunately, they took it after the Purloin. And by the way, we're taking the drink during the BB. They would have had to hit a green during the take for that to be Smallman. I'm not sure if Magic Doer noticed.
And that's just fun. 2 Sif shots on high rise.
Yeah, that's pretty good. The question for me is, did he start to do missions because there was about 90 seconds left and that's the time you got to start doing them? Or did he actually sense that low light? Because if he sensed the low light, the timing is exquisite. He started to move right after that. We are now going into Terrace, and it's 1-1. Magic Doer, unfortunately, blows that early win and is going to run back Orange Dress. You mentioned mind games. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe it's random. I'm skeptical. There are a lot of people at bar already, though. Magic Doer just like Orange Dress in the previous game, talking to nobody of consequence. We are next to a cowboy who we have no interest in. Amba comes by us, just like last time too, but not as close, and not in a particularly buggable position. We're going to finish that drink, and hopefully noting these bar visitors. I'm going to be a little hesitant to question Magic Doer's frame and instincts this time, given how well they worked last time.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if the pick on Orange Sorry here was intentional. I believe Magic Doer knows kind of Ponoob's mentality and very kind of deep mind game play style, and he might just be trying to play into it and kind of beat him at his own game here.
Maybe. A better test will be when we get away from these venues where the speed actually matters. As I mentioned, not a big problem playing a slow character on high rise, definitely not on terrace either. But she is all the more suspicious because of it, memes or no. And once again, though, a minute has burned off the clock without a time add this time, and there is no mission progress whatsoever. And here comes a fake. That is going to knock out two people, Bling Twin and Taft, if Noob gets them both. Gets Taft for sure. Bling Twin with a briefcase return, but that can be a little cheeky, so are they going to want to give that low light? No. Nope. It can be a hard tell to do that in the conversation with the briefcase, but they were behind the conversation. There's a bug attempt during the walk by from the ambassador. It does not take, but Noob was zooming in and out. I'm not sure if it's noticed, but they are setting themselves up to catch any other attempts, which are, of course, not forthcoming. Ambassador goes back to the same spot as the beginning. And one of the twins gets knocked down. There's another banana bread. We're going to try to maximize the number of people who could have a reel here. And we've done a pretty good job. We've knocked out 3 people potentially, but Noob's only taken 2 of them. And we're going to go to bar now. And the question is this going to be to frame someone, or are we going to delegate? Or
Very
both?
surprising that reverse drive-by didn't take it. It looked like the Amba was right on us there.
Yeah, and I don't think we have much suspicion either. I think that actually would have worked really well and possibly been a win condition if everything lined up afterwards. Big moment of truth. It's going to be a delegate. And I think Magic Doer, again, is not particularly interested in completing missions. I think they're looking for good frame targets. But who's it going to be? We're next to the ambassador again. We again have a drink in that hand. That lemonade blocking the bug for the second consecutive game. But that might be a good thing. We still have no seduction, by the way. So a late rush does not seem very likely. Swap and inspect, of course, turned off. Pretty standard there.
Yeah, very interesting. No flirt progress. It's just another one of those games of aggressive idling into either a civ shot or mission complete at the end.
Yeah, and it's not that hard to get a little bit of the flirt done to leave yourself options late in the game, but in this case, we are all in on this unless we want to bug and purloin, and that purloin timer is getting low. A lot of people going to bar, picking up fingerprints. This is actually a pretty active party if we want someone else to get shot. We're going back to bar, finishing our drink. I think we're trying to frame... Geez, I hope it's not the twin, because the twin is low lit. We were near Cowboy earlier, but he left before we did, so I'm not really sure who the frame target is here, but the only viable person I can see might be a low light. There's the take, and Noob shoots immediately, I think correctly realizing that couldn't have come from anybody I haven't already ruled out.
Yeah. He did have an option there for Bling Twin to maybe let Bling Twin walk away, and then as if Bling Twin had done the delegate without taking the drink trick, and then go back and grab it, but there was like 30 seconds left, possibly not enough time for all of that.
Yeah, I think the thing is, if you're going to play that kind of game, you really need to pick the right targets. That's the trade-off, right? Is that you focus all your energies on picking the right target. But strangely enough, it's someone who, again, was already low-lit. I'm not sure if that was one of the hard low-lights, though. That's the thing. They couldn't have guessed it. They obviously didn't delegate to Taft, General, or the other twin, I don't think. But in this case, they delegate to someone that Noob had ruled out otherwise. And just like that, it's 2-1 Noob. That is our first sniper victory. And we are starting up again. It's the same missions. Inspect and swap are off. Again, pretty standard. You'll see a little variation in high rise now and then. Maybe a little bit. Not much. Not much. Nobody's going to get too cute here.
And Ponoob is which spy?
I mean, now, what did I say before, right? I'm skeptical. And that's just a bug. And technically, I think the very beginning of the arm animation was seen. Yep, just the very beginning. It's actually an excellent bug. Whoa, bump back down. What is going on here with these lights? You had it right the first time, buddy.
Yeah, he must have noticed that something was off about the animation, and Magic Doer second guessing himself and bringing it back down to neutral, unfortunately.
It could be that, I don't really need any help remembering this, and I'd rather use my lights for something else. Hard to say. We do get a flirt in, but, mess with the lights. 'Tis the season. It's seasonally appropriate to have flashing lights. Sure does make our job a lot harder, though. Just because it's almost Christmas doesn't mean you have to make Christmas things. Ponoob has 34% on the flirt. The bug is done. We might be a huge suspect for it, but we might not. The moment of truth will come during that banana bread, of course. Ambassador's coming. Nope. Not coming to us, that's good. We don't want to have anything to do with them anymore, ideally. Although, some mind games to be played there too. If you go and sidle up next to the ambassador after bugging them, who would do that? It's the kind of thing Noob will think about and will do. Seduction target is at bar, and there's some nice open spots near us that we're probably hoping they settle in. Looks like we're going to force the issue, but I think we're too late to get a flirt off. This is going to be awfully close. Just does get it. Okay, stays and sips. Kane obliges by taking their drink at the bar rather than leaving with it immediately, and we're up to 65%. But one more close white is not going to do it.
Yeah, a little bit of luck with the ST taking the drink there. Ponub heading over to the statue is going to do an innocent inspect just to try and lose some heat or do a little bit of idling here.
Yeah, very, very significant. And that's going to be a big potential action test at the end of this by not quite getting close enough at that bar. We have 65% on the flirt. We have the bug done. But again, the contact is the crucible we have to get through if we are still suspected. Magic Doer is watching the ambassador very closely, which suggests they're definitely not positive that bug took place. But they might be sure enough that when the BB goes off, this is some good bouncing from Noob, by the way. Nice little redirects. And we're behind a few people, too, if you believe in that sort of thing. Here comes the BB.
Yeah, great BB.
Yep, great BB. And lowlights are being taken. And here comes the flirt. It's 99%. It's a white right next to them, but we have a full minute left. We can afford a timer flirt, and you'll trade that because you're not shot, and you only have one more talk. It looks like Magic Doer thought they saw the bug, then thought better of it, and that might be what cost them the game. But we need to avoid a little bad luck with Kane here. If Kane stays put, we're almost certainly going to win. If they leave at the wrong moment, things could get interesting, and that slow walk speed we mentioned could end up mattering because Kane is one of the faster characters. That would be something.
And sorry, Ponub did stop talk on screen. Magic Doer was zooming in, so that might add a little bit of suspicion to sorry here for Magic Doer.
Yeah, stop talks are one of those things that can accrue suspicion even when they're done legitimately, correctly. They just get people's attention. There's the talk next to Kane. 10 seconds left. Magic Doer's going to have to take a Jedi shot to win, and they won't. It's just Smallman going down. At statues again, by the way. But again, inspects were turned off. Might have been a late fingerprint there I'm forgetting about. I was too busy looking at Orange Dress. Isn't that always the way? Maybe the only other character almost as suspicious in this particular set. That's a big win for Noob. Obviously, ended up winning anyway, but played it differently because they had the bug, certainly.
Yeah, getting that early bug and getting away with it just gives you so many more options into the late game and lets you relax a little bit and plan and play a little bit more safe, idle, and do the things that he did.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's easy to think, well, it doesn't matter if they got away with the bug or not because, hey, Civ shot. But Civ shots are more likely when you're not doing things like that, and you're less likely to be doing things when you think you've already gotten away with the bug. Noob did indeed play as if he'd gotten away with the bug, and I think he's right, but that flashing of the light on and then right back off, I think that's really significant. If they look at this replay, I think they're going to be kicking themselves and say, I had a chance to win this early and easy, and I just missed it. But it was an excellent bug. I think maybe the very beginning of that animation may be visible. On the other hand, even though it was only the beginning, Magic Doer was kind of staring it down. That is one of those dangerous bug areas where if the bug is executed properly, you credit it without seeing it, but you really, really can't see it. And I think that was the case there. Magic Doer probably thinking, don't give this game away to a suspicious mind-gamey character who happens to walk by the ambassador once. We are going to be moving on now to Aquarium. And Magic Doer, after winning that first game, very significant, has lost 3 in a row. And again, it is to 7 for the win, 6 for the tie, but they play it out completely for tiebreaker purposes, so every game matters. Magic Doer is going to be playing here as Ponytail on Aquarium, starting off with a sip in her drink, too. And it's going to be top right Shark. And again, Magic Doer starts with an immediate green flirt, 51% right there with their seduction target, Wheels, Mr. I. One of the least chosen spies in SCL, by the way.
Wheels?
Yes.
Interesting, yeah.
Consistently near the bottom.
Yeah, Wheels gets a lot of flack. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's that bad. I don't think he's one of the worst.
I think you just explained it properly. That was damning with faint praise. He's not that bad. And, Magic Doer doesn't seem to think so either because they haven't left yet. They're going to try to timer flirt here and get this done in 2, which, while it's not high rise, similar logic applies. When you can get the flirt done very quickly on Aquarium, it opens up a lot. People hate to take Civ shots on busy AIs, and busy AIs are what we have. Look at these early statue visitors. There's a fingerprint on the back left, but the BB is going to knock out all of them. And hopefully it's going to go right into a flirt here. It's actually a pretty good BB otherwise, except for those early statue visitors. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a problem. Some people care about those more than others. That's going to be a time ad as well. We're going to go right back into here, and we get a highlight for it. That was not a good trade. We are suspect numero uno now for 45 seconds we probably didn't need.
Yeah, and it looked like that Ponoob did a fake low light onto Magic Doer when he was down there at the windows, and I think it's a little bit short-sighted for Magic Doer to think that he can get away with a BB split against Ponoob. Ponoob definitely sniffed it out, ended up highlighting him for it, and all Magic Doer did was knock out all of the potential frame targets for the late game, which were the statue visitors.
Sharks can smell blood in the water from a distance away. I think you're right. Noob sniffed that out pretty easily. And we have our second flirt done here, 78% now. A close white will get it done. But we were timer flirting. We wasted most of that time timer flirting and didn't get the timer flirt, and instead traded it for 45 seconds on a highlight and knocking out several early statue visitors. And we could see, by the way, that Noob was indeed using those highlights for statue visitors. That's not something they always necessarily do. It could be for bar, it could be for real BB. In this case, though, you knocked out the thing they were highlighting for specifically, and now you're the only highlight without going to statues. You're probably in big trouble here. But still plenty of neutral lights to work with. You're just going to need one of them to do something. I think it's going to be very, very hard, though, for Magic Doer to finish missions without getting shot.
And Magic Doer remaining in this conversation, doing an innocent talk, might be an indicator that he knows. However, probably not, since he just left and went over to the seduction target.
Yeah, and that's going to finish the seduce. But we weren't next to wheels for that second talk, so it's not too bad. And the seduce is done now, so even if we've been flirt paired, not a big deal. The real question is, how much suspicion do we have? Noob is watching other things, so not selling out here, hedging their bets, which is wise. And zoomed in while the bug happens, totally staring it down. Here's the problem. We're not going to have time to look at the replay because it's a live game potentially, but Noob was staring at Salmon after that drink tank, which I think had a fingerprint on it. So Salmon walked by the ambassador while already being watched by the sniper, and we bugged at the exact same time. That was bad timing. I think you want to be maybe the only one walking by, because in this case, Noob was already looking, presumably, for Salmon.
Yeah, and it also may have been that Ponoob was just guarding that lane, right? We had a Shark, I think, coming by mid. You've got the Ambassador in that perfect buggable spot. It's almost like a bait where it's, I need to guard that Amba position.
It's shark bait. Yeah, it absolutely is. So you're right. It's a time for Noob to be guarding anyway. And then on top of that, we know he has a suspect coming through there post fingerprint, I think it was. Just unfortunate timing all across, but the time ad really was probably the main thing. You're not going to get a better look at a clear bug on Aquarium than that most of the time. That is a godsend for what's normally going to be an overwhelmed sniper. And speaking of overwhelmed, Magic Doer's lost 4 in a row now by my counts. And Noob is now spying on Aquarium for what I think would probably be an insurmountable lead if they can win this game. It's going to be one of the other very rarely picked spies. It's going to be Cowboy.
Yeah, and recently, Cowboy has been used specifically for being the ambassador just due to the kind of the speed and size ratio.
Right, exactly right. People like to pick Taft because of size and speed, but the argument is maybe you pick Cowboy because he's not as fast, which means drive-bys are a little easier to time. It's usually one or the other, though. Makes up the majority of the ambassadors, I would say, in these games, for those who don't true random. Noob is going to fingerprint early and bounce off the ambassador quite a bit. Not going to bug, but the fingerprint's done. And there's a bug. Okay, the bug's done.
Yeah, the bug happened while we were talking. It was a reverse drive-by in the exact same spot that Ponoob shot Magic Doer for in the previous round there.
Yep, the drive-by. It works.
Showing him how it's done.
The drive-by with the character you pick to get drive-bys done, rather than the other way around. We have the 2 ambassadors here together. One of them, this time, the spy. Noob has made a lot of progress, and this is sort of one of the hardest things to potentially shoot for, is the 3 soft tails plus a bug on Aquarium. Normally, one of the soft tails is inspect, but that does help narrow it down a little bit. If you can get away with the fingerprint, even get away with one of them, for that matter, maybe one difficult, and a bug that they don't actually see, that's pretty darn hard to shoot for. And I think that's what Noob is banking on right now. You have a lead, make Magic Doer take difficult shots the rest of the way, and they have to win coin flip after coin flip to avoid defeat.
Yeah, and this felt a little bit like a rush. I mean, it was a very quick opening seduce into the reverse bug, into the grab briefcase return and finish flirt. So it's kind of like I don't know, almost like a mid-pace rush where it's, I don't want to be too obvious, but I'm not going to idle and I'm not going to kind of waste time. I'm just going to go mission site to mission site.
Yeah, the rush is still a little dependent on that flirt potentially if you don't want to do two hardtails, and that's the case here. Did finish the flirt up though, and we're clearly going to be looking for another fingerprint, but the BB, it looks like it's going to come first, and it's an okay time for it if you don't think you're a big suspect. And I think Noob has correctly surmised they are not a big suspect. Several people are out. A couple of highlights. It's going to be 4, 5, 6 possible lowlights. Oh boy, how many does Magic Doer get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Takes a soft low light, talking to the seduction target. Does not get white dress, though, with the briefcase. Again, probably worried about some shenanigans there. Noob would get up to them. But we got 5 low lights. That's pretty good, except for the fact that Noob is one fingerprint away from victory.
Yeah, not a bad low light count there, like you said, but the fact that Ponoob is pretty close to winning, especially if he lands the difficult fingerprint on the briefcase or he's got the backup plan of going to the blue book.
Yep, and we're going to stand somewhere where we're going to be obligated to take this briefcase, I think. No, we're going to go to the bookshelf instead. There we go. And it's going to be the only bookcase we've been to, so there's not going to be any paranoia. It's going to be a nice clean fingerprint and a nice clean win. This would be an incredibly difficult, impressive shot for Magic Doer, and there's no indication it's coming. That's going to be the game. The bug and the fingerprint. It was not a great BB. Oh, a little BM there with the microfilm removal with 1 second left. That's doing it in style. 5-1 after losing the first game. Wow. What a turnaround. What a turnaround. Some of these individual games have been very close, but that one didn't feel too close. The last two, in fact, I feel like these last 2 games here on Aquarium, Magic Doer really need to make up that ground again, down 3-1, and instead these have been Noob's 2 easiest victories so far.
If Magic Doer wants to halt the momentum of Noob here, he's really got to get he's got to kind of take a moment, think about it, forget about the previous rounds, focus on the one that's upcoming, and try to get a good clean win off to try and slow Ponoob down a little bit. Kind of a big hill to climb here.
Yeah, the only game you need to win is the next one, but there's a lot of next ones right now in front of Magic Doer, certainly, who's coming into this 0-2 as well. So a loss here probably ends their hopes of getting out of the group stage, I think probably even mathematically. And again, this is still Noob's debut, and even though it didn't start that well, it's gone a lot better since. 5-1 heading into Gallery now, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of Noob cheese. Again, when you have that kind of lead, keep the pressure on. You can afford to be aggressive. And tiebreakers might actually matter here, too. He is in the same division as Ryu, who has started very strong, by the way. And if you want that first seed, winning 11-1 or something could be a big deal. That's an instant white swap from Magic Doer, freed from the constraints of having a lead or even a close match. We see some shenanigans. The kind of move that I don't think you'd see if it weren't 5-1.
Yeah, I mean, which could be a good thing, that freedom of not having the pressure of being so far behind that it doesn't, you may feel that it's already lost. Maybe exactly what you need to mix up the gameplay.
It does open up the playbook just a little bit. Sometimes, if you're the kind of person who plays a little overcautious, perhaps, falling behind can be one of the things that turns it around for you. But the swap has been noticed. Low lights are coming off. Noob is not making much of an attempt to hide them either, so Magic Doer must realize that it's narrowed down. And if that's the case, they probably have no hope of finishing, is the thing.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you've got to. Hopefully, Magic Tour was keeping track of the other spies.
Yep.
White Purloin on screen.
Yep, never mind. It's a white Purloin on screen, and we are the only non-low light anywhere near it. That is 6-1. Noob has guaranteed themselves at least a draw, and they have 5 straight games with which to score the win outright. Again, though, remember, this is Noob's first match, which means they don't really have a good sense yet of how many wins are going to help them win a tiebreak over someone like Ryu, potentially. So they are going to want to keep their foot on the gas and win as many games as possible. If they can score something like a 10-2, that would be very significant going forward to get the number 1 seed coming out of groups as opposed to the number 2. And that does matter a bit here. The seeding is not going to be random like it was in the Summer Cup. The divisions are ranked based on perceived difficulty by a private and impartial a judge, basically, of their relative skill levels, which is going to help seed the bracket, stop any one side or any one quadrant of the bracket from being overwhelmed with skill, as can sometimes happen in the Summer Cup through luck of the draw. I know that firsthand from the last Summer Cup. So the seeding might matter quite a bit, too. Very significant.
Yeah, it just means that Ponoob is going to be trying, as hard as he can, even though he may have a gigantic lead, to continue to just pull off wins because he may need them later.
Yeah, again, Ryu has started strong, so it's every win could matter. We saw some very close tiebreakers in recent tournaments. There's a drive-by bug attempt. It does not take, but it's in the chaos of gallery, and it doesn't seem to have been noticed at all. We have Orange Dress and Queen both at statues already. Smallman is the ambassador. Oh my. Oh
And
my.
I'll note that Ponoob picked Ponytail again, even though in Magic Doer was just Ponytail. He's kind of continuing that little bit of mind game.
Yeah, it's the
Possibly.
mind game without the mind. Yeah, I'm not Orange Dress, but I am you. We're going to the statue here. Are we going to try to frame Orange Dress? She was just at the statue, but it's super visible. Or is it just going to be in? Yep. Okay, just inspects then. I think if they'd gotten some occlusion out front at the other statue, oh, it's going to be a green instead. I don't quite follow this logic other than let's just be aggressive, potentially. I
Yeah,
understand going there after Orange Dress to frame them for the swap, mind games upon mind games, but not sure what the idea is here, and Wheels is going to take it.
he may just be thinking if I get a white, then I'm framing sorry. If I'm getting a green, I'm framing the person, possibly after me, and kind of just option selects and is okay
There's
with
the
either.
swap. Oh, the double take on the sniper cam was palpable. It snapped around. The what? You could practically hear it. Love the camera movement on that. Here come the swaps, and Wheels gets bumped down. But here's what we were maybe hoping. If you don't remember what order they were in, you're going to remember that Sari was there. So this might still work because Sari has not been low lit, and Sari is Sari. So that's reason enough. I think that might have been the idea. You're not expecting a swap, so you're going to just say, well, these people were there, but I'm not sure in which order.
Yeah, sometimes it's easy to remember who has been at statues, who has inspects, but to remember who was at each specific statue and when is a lot for the sniper to process on top of everything else that's going on.
Yep. Queen has a highlight. She was at the she was at the front statue. Rocker was in the back set somewhere. It's Alice and Sari who were at the statue in question in relatively short order too. But if you're pretty sure you know who it is, there's really no reason to narrow this down any further. So Noob might still have trouble finishing. But if Sari obliges, does a few suspicious things, can you really hold that shot? Especially since a Mimi character is the kind of thing Noob would pick with this kind of lead. I remember in an SCL match in particular, Noob had a significant lead on balcony and shot Orange Dress immediately, I think it was, against their opponent, because they had 3 or 4 wins to spare going into Modern. Didn't end up costing them, but it was indeed the memeiest thing we saw all season.
That's great.
Sari takes a drink and nothing else. The list stays where it is.
Now, I do note that Magic Doer keeps zooming out while Ponoob is at the front window there, so it indicates to me that Magic Doer may be on to Ponoob here a little bit, just looking for the watch check in the time ad or seeing if they move or whatever they do.
Yeah, at the very least, has this narrowed down and is not ruling anyone out. Is definitely not selling out on Sari. I think they're just going to wait for one or the other to potentially finish, and that's just probably not going to happen. I got a pretty good sense that Sari's not going to finish. We are going to go next to her though. This is actually pretty good. Maybe hope that you're not sure who took the drink in what order. Kind of hard to see from the angle. Who's being offered? If there's a reject, for example, we're clearly just going all in on that. There's the fake, but there's an SDA in with us, and Sari is talking during it. It's a white test too, but Alice is not visible on screen. Magic Doer shakes the camera. All 4 highlights were in that conversation. You got to hold this shot, though. Queen takes 10 seconds. There's going to be no overtime, which means, presumably, no shot coming off. That was your chance. I think if you combine it with a Purloin, maybe it happens. Magic Doer needs to play it cool, and wow, they do. What a hold.
Yeah, good hold. Magic Doer obviously had the mission count going. If Ponoob wanted to have that frame actually take and produce a shot from Magic Doer, I think he needed to land a green Purloin with the fake BB on top of it.
And I think that was the plan, and I think it would have worked marginally well. But here's the thing about that. The mission count is particularly good when something like that swap frame happens in the beginning of the game. It happens so early that you don't worry that you've maybe missed a bug from either character or that your mission count's going to be off. So they're very confident that neither person could have finished inspects, for example. It makes the timeout that much more likely. You're really banking on them to do something, and if they don't, then you have to force the action, and we did not force the action there. So it worked a little better than I thought it was gonna, but it didn't quite work entirely, and a good on Magic Doer up against match point to hold that shot on gallery. And now, though, they're going to head to Veranda, and they still need to win out. It is 6-2. But if they win here, things are going to get interesting. Noob whispers to me that all the statues were falcons. That might have been the real goal. Always with the memes. We are Magic Doer. We are, let me see here. Yeah, one of the twins. Looks like Bling Twin,
Bling
my
Twin,
favorite. Yeah.
Starting off with
The
a
better
time
twin.
ad on the side window there.
Really trying to out noob in some of these games, aren't we? Just a little bit. There have been a lot of time ads from Magic Doer.
Yeah, I mean, I felt just from the very early game that Magic Doer may be trying to go along with Pondub's playstyle, kind of beat him at his own game.
Well, it looked like it was working pretty well early on, but it hasn't really since. And certainly did manage to wait out his shenanigans on the previous game. But you need to score at some point a good, clean spy win, I think. And this is the time to do it. If you do this, you'll be sniping for 6-4. This, arguably, is the game you get excited about because if you can win this one, a comeback suddenly looks plausible, at least. Here's a reject on the drink. We have no progress so far. And between that and the time ad, it feels like once again we're hoping Noob beats himself by latching onto an AI and shooting someone potentially out of confirmation bias, which is a lot harder to do when they need to do 5 missions. It works a little better on high rise, maybe on terrace, where AI is complete all the time. Noob is double zoomed in on a drink take from Hair while Magic Doer is doing a microfilm at Green Bookshelf. It was a white, by the way, but it was completely off screen. Noob seems to be really concerned about this Purloin. There's a BB. It's also a white. Oh, it's a really good one. If it ever comes off. There it does. Zoomed in on that conversation. Highlights, several people for having a reel there, potentially including the spy, but that can't be much of a highlight in terms of potency. Hair is going to get knocked out. So is General. Back up. Yeah, I was going to say, these are some fishy lowlights. He did not have a good look at them. They could have easily split, and Noob realizes that and realizes that a lowlight to the spy is how he gets them back in this match. So thinks better of it, but ultimately does not get a lot out of that. The lowlight's not very good. However, highlighting the spy might be worth it. Magic Doer is going to go to the blue bookshelf now, and I think they're going to try to finish microfilm. And Ambassador's all the way on the other side, and so is Toby, and Ponoob is staring over here. It's another white test that's completely off camera. Microfilm is done and free.
Yep, good timing by Magic Doer. Sees that Toby and the Ambassador are on the other side, that Ponoob should be rotated over to there. It's Magic Doer picking up on using the party to figure out where the sniper is looking more so than the laser, which it's good that he's picking up now.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 white microfilms, and neither of them are on screen at all. And our only real suspicion is for that BB, which isn't much. We're going to flirt at windows here. And, sorry, he's going to run off. And with 2 minutes left, that's significant because that would have jumped us from 34 to 68%. We're going to have to decide what to do pretty soon, though. We're going to check our watch. No time at this time. I think they might have sensed they've gotten away with that microfilm, and now mission complete is looking like the way to go. Obviously, seduce is something you're going to want to do. Do they want to avoid statues, though? And if so, what are they going to do instead? They don't have any fingerprints. They have only a third of the seduce done. They have no inspects, 1 hardtail. And look at all these highlights, too. This party is getting out of control. We might just get a civ shot here if Magic Doer doesn't do anything too rash.
Yeah, he's got to really pick up the speed here in the last kind of minute and a half. A minute and 40, I think, is deceptively a lot of time on Veranda. You need a bit of time to get through all of
There's
this.
a swap. It's on the other end of the venue. Noob was zoomed in because several highlights were near the Ambassador. Sorry gets bumped back up. This is significant. Noob was really selling out. He was very worried about that bug with 3 highlights in the vicinity of Cowboy the Ambassador. The swap goes off, but is Noob confident? Has he even noticed yet? It's not clear that he has. I don't think he has a good sense of who's been where. The party is spiraling out of control. 2 hardtails are done, and we are a seduce and a statue visit away from finishing. We're also next to the Amba, though. Are we going to try to bug instead of finish inspects? It would not be wise. Noob is very, very concerned about it. You want to get the flirt done. You're on the other side of the venue from your seduction target. There's a minute left. It's going to be suspicious no matter how you finish, but it would be a tough shot unless he's onto this swap, and it's not clear from the camera movement whether or not he is. You've got to make a decision soon, though.
Magic Doer intelligently doesn't go for the reverse drive-by. Is just waiting for the briefcase. I think he could feel the laser and feel the eyes.
Interesting briefcase cancel there. Pretty darn good, and Noob was looking at the whole time. Can we get shot just for an inspect here? If we suspect the swap at all, it will come off, the shot, if the swap is suspected. If we're not suspected for it, it won't. Here it comes. Inspects are done. That is it. Yes, suspects him for the swap was 1 flirt away. I like most of that game. I don't know about the swap, though. I felt like we were really ahead before that point.
The swap felt so courageous that I feel like it could have been an action test mistake. But, I mean, I could be wrong about that.
No, I mean, that certainly fits because at that point, you've gotten away with the microfilm. Maybe you realize it, maybe you don't, but you're in pretty good shape, all things considered. A swap makes a lot of sense at the end of the game. That felt like a pretty tentative shot from Noob, though, but I feel like the swap might have brought back a game that was slipping through his fingers. I think that was a huge, huge opportunity for Magic Doer. Didn't quite work out. I think the microfilms, though, were exquisitely timed, but it doesn't matter. It is 7-2 Noob. We are going to play the last 3 games for fun and or tiebreakers, potentially. Great game. I think Magic Doer was actually well on their way to playing the game they needed to play at the moment they needed to play it there.
I agree. If this wasn't first to seven, we may get a different winner. It feels like Magic Doer is starting to pick up the pace and kind of figure out how Ponoob works. I think that was a pretty good veranda spy by him overall.
I think if that flirt at the window takes, maybe it goes a little better. Maybe you get your second inspects done earlier. Maybe you don't swap. Who knows? A lot of things could happen. But Noob was selling out at various points on the Purloin and the Bug. Noob, of course, now with the win in hand, is doing all sorts of small cheese. We have a Bug and 51% on the flirt in the first 30 seconds of the game.
Jeez. Yeah, I didn't see the bug at all on screen. I was in sniper view, and it just worked out perfectly there.
It wasn't particularly visible from sniper view, no. And yeah, Noob is just going totally aggro here. We're just going to try to squeeze in. Oh, and look at that. Taft leaves and opens up a spot right next to our seduction target as we're approaching. The C's are parting for Noob. Everything's working out beautifully, except for that white test, 85%. But then the seduction target leaves anyway on a briefcase redirect. This could not be going better. And again, this might matter for tiebreaker purposes. A resounding victory here could come in handy later against other people in the group. Noob is just going to follow, get this flirt done real quick. I gotta imagine some microfilm cheese is coming up next too. Seduce is done, Bug is done. 3+ minutes on the clock. Purloin probably?
Yeah, Ponoob may not risk any kind of out of conversation or out of pad microfilm cheese with such a huge lead. 3 minutes in, Seduce and Bug already done.
And Noob has basically not stopped moving at this point. I'm not sure why we're here. Is this a place to get a cheeky Purloin? Do you even have room for a... Nope, you don't even have room for it there. Never mind. Okay, so Noob did let off the gas just a little bit, wasted a few seconds in a pointless conversation. And Magic Doer, just like the Noob did the previous game, is staring at the side of the venue with the ambassador and the guest list on it. And while that's happening, Noob is on the other side, inspecting statues with impunity. If they left right now, they'd never even be seen there. And they're still not on screen. Magic Doer is selling a lot on these two hardtails. Noob was seen walking away from the statues, but probably isn't even being credited with having any inspects. Oof. There's a white test BB. These two full conversations both have SDAs in them. This is a very good BB. We're going to split from it insofar as we can after a white test. We're going to get inspects done. Wouldn't surprise me if we got a low light, but I don't think we will. Hasn't happened yet.
Noob swaps here.
There we go. Yep, this would finish right here. 2 minutes left, but we are on screen, and we're with another statue visitor, so this is a pretty rough time to do it. It's a white swap. There we go.
Yep.
6.
2 minutes
5. We're going to get another double take on the swap. 3, 2. Nope, and we're hiding. We're dancing. There we go. Only the hairline visible behind the wheels. And that is 8-2 now. That is the kind of game Noob will play when he's got a lead.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, with such an early lead, you can risk kind of that early white swap. You know, a lot of snipers aren't looking for they're looking for a swap with less than 1 minute on the clock, but with a couple minutes on, it's just not usually on their radar.
Yeah, but come on, it's Smallman, it's Noob, and the match was just clinched. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It felt fairly predictable to me, but then again, I'm judging it from the comfort of the broadcast booth. It is 8-2 now. They're going to keep playing here. 2 more games. Again, trying to run up the score as much as you can because tiebreakers do matter. This is the first tiebreaker, other than head-to-head, I believe it is, in the group stages. So if, say, Noob and Ryu were to tie, for example, in their match whenever it happens, individual game wins would be the second tiebreaker and come up fairly often in these kind of group stage formats. So you want every win you can get, especially, again, this being Noob's first match. They have no sense yet of how important this stuff's going to be. Sometimes when you go into your last match, you know, it doesn't really matter as long as I win how it goes. You can do the math. But in this case, you have no idea how important it is, so you want every win you can get. We're going to move on to Library now for the last 2 games. Magic Doer, same kind of thing. Probably out of it now at 0-3. I haven't done the math, but I think it's, if not official, very, very close to being official. Just playing for pride at this point, potentially, but Noob still playing for those tie breaks. Magic Doer is going to spy first. They're going to be Bling Twin again. And Taft is the ambassador. We're going to go right to statues. Are we going to get another rush swap from Magic Doer now? And let's see. Here we go. Nope.
Interesting lights by Ponoob. Okay, no, he's just going for statue highlights. Couple behavioral lowlights possibly on Kane General, Smallman, and Cowboy.
Yeah, why not? Library, it works for a variety of sniping styles, and not only that, but if you wanted to test things, there's a speaking of tests, there's a green test time ad from Magic Doer, another time ad from Magic Doer. If you're going to play spy a little more aggro or aggressively, when you already have the match in hand, you can kind of experiment with sniper as well, and that seems to be what Noob might be doing here. We'll see.
That seemed a
Magic Doer
little
walks away.
fast for Bling Twin to be. He Ponoob saw Bling Twin head over to the bookcase, kind of panned around to the other side of the venue, looks back and sees him walking away. I feel like that may have been too fast for that whole book transaction from Magic
I
Door.
think I think you're right, but I think we're seeing Magic Door play the same kind of game now, the YOLO game, with the match already technically over. And again, in Magic Door's case, probably really not anything left to play for other than, well, fun, hype, excitement. I am giving away a prize for a non-specific cool thing during the tournament, so maybe Magic Door is trying to win it. Who knows? Blue book in hand. We are killing a little bit of time here, maybe seeing where our seduction target settles. We are with the real double agent, though, so maybe we're just waiting for other people to get in so we can do a BB and get out of here and then dump the book in the wake of the BB. Pretty standard move for library. We're talking to nobody who matters because it was our turn. Amber leaves, and we still have not BB. The party doesn't look like a good time yet.
Yeah, he had a great opportunity for a banana bread and debug there if he would have started it right when the Amba landed in the conversation.
Yeah, decides not to take it though. Sounds feels like they already have a game plan in mind. The game plan was BB into book dump, and it's not really lining up, and they're not changing the plan as a result, which works fine because the clock has just caught up now after that time ad. We're gonna dump this book, I think, probably right about now. Nope, still not dumping it. We are going to get this flirt done, though. So the flirt is done, one inspect done, blue book in hand, and we've had it for a while. So it's kind of an open question whether or not Noob is going to notice or care or even bother to shoot, even if they suspect it. That's going to be a fake right into the book dump, and that's just too obvious. We're three at shelves. Yep, knows exactly where that book came from. As you mentioned, was on screen, and it was a quick take. And there we go, running up the score indeed, 9-2.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the ambassador went right there with us, giving more of a reason for Ponoob to look at that area of the venue.
Yeah, the speed of the shot makes it pretty clear, I think, that the book was known, but you're right. If they were at all hesitant about it, that only would have made it easier. Noob now going to go for that 10-2 I alluded to earlier. It would be a pretty resounding victory against someone of Magic Doer's skill, and certainly a great way to start your Winter Cup, albeit late. And there we go. Yep, it's definitely deliberate now. Pwn Noob is Bling Twin, mirroring their opponent's character choice again.
Of course he
So I
does.
So I think this will be 6 spy games. There's a failed bug attempt immediately. 6 spy games for Pwn Noob. 2 of them a Jarn's dress, and 2 of them as the player their opponent just played, right?
Not surprising at all. If anyone ever
Yeah.
has the opportunity to talk about Spy Party with Ponoob and the mind games that he thinks about, I highly advise it because it's very interesting and fun to talk to him about it.
I always like to say mind games are optional. If you pretend they don't exist, it's as if they don't for the most part. But if you buy into them, well, the problem is you're probably buying into them against someone who's thought about them more than you have already. There's another bug attempt. That's 2. Is Magic Doer just gonna? Yeah, look at that. The laser's
He's
following.
just following
There
him.
we go. New basically saying, "Would you please just shoot me already? My legs are tired from walking around so much, and my arm is extended again." Look at that. Yes, 2 bugs, just in case you didn't see it the first time. So Noob does not make it to 10-2, 9-3 though. You will absolutely take that to start your Winter Cup. Resounding victory for Noob after losing that first game, no less. After that, won 9 out of 10.
Yeah, the SCL rank showing kind of after the full set here with Ponoob being in diamond. He kind of flexes and lets it show. I am going to take the stream down for just one moment and adjust the bit rate and bring it back up. We're getting a bit of drop frames throughout that set there. So I'm going to adjust the bit rate and we'll be back in just a moment here.
Stay tuned, everybody.